Batman Arkham City. It's an amazing gaming experience that makes you scream, I'm vengeance. It's an open world adventure game with a story that hits you in the feels, and the game has so much legendary voice work for Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill. But what exactly makes this game so great and loved by Batman fans? I had three key points for my argument being gameplay, story, and the map itself, which I will be diving into this video. One thing that pops up in my mind for Batman Arkham City is the way you move around the map. It's a very essential part of the game because you do it so often. And the way they tackled movements around the map is very strong. I love the fact they use a simple hold X to glide around the map and use a R2 to have a glide boost. It just adds so much momentum to the character of Batman and as a player as a whole. I also really appreciate using R1 as a grapple hook to go up to higher grounds such as buildings and other things that are higher up. But one thing that's annoying about that is Batman stops at certain locations when you do press R1. But there's a simple solution for that. Be the AR training being obstacles that you had to glide down to complete to get a grapple boost. And once you get the grapple boost, you press double X and it launches Batman much more higher and he continues to glide. It makes the movement so much quicker and rewarding for the player, making this game so special when it comes to movement around the city. Batman Arkham City has some really great combat. It's simple, but it smashes wear for the most part. By seeing Batman's martial arts skills, fighting these thugs is something extremely great. But I also love the camera work when it comes to Batman's fighting skills. It's something really cinematic about it, which is something appealing to the player playing as the character Batman. But it's not simple button smashing swear for Batman. There's some enemies with different weapons, such as a larger enemy, you have to press circle to stun the enemy, then go crazy pressing swear to take down that enemy. Or an enemy with a blade, you have to hold back the analog stick while pressing triangle to dodge those blades and then attack the enemy. Or an enemy with shield, which requires an aerial takedown, which is pressing circle and double pressing X. Having these different styles of enemies makes the gameplay so much more inventive and brings so much style and flair to Batman Arkham City and strategy as well. Another key element of Batman Arkham City that they nail in the coffin is the stealth. Having a vantage point being R1 to go to the higher ground and using the handy detective mode being L1 to see where the enemies are is something incredible. It's like, oh, you can detect where the enemies are and attack them when you need to. But it's very important to do a silent takedown. So pressing circle to go down and to find an enemy that's alone and press a triangle for a silent takedown is very effective and it adds a layer of strategy for the player. But later on in game it gets even more harder, especially with some enemies having thermal goggles that they can see you up where you are in the vantage points, or sometimes they take down the vantage points for you. So it makes it even harder. So you really had to use your brains as Batman to take down enemies in certain scenarios, being the stealth mission. But the gameplay mechanics and the boss fights are different. Each boss fight is diverse and different for each other. For example, the Ra's al Ghul boss fight. When Ra's al Ghul gets large, you have to dodge his swords and other objects around you. But at the same time, you have to use L2 and circle to have electric shock to damage Ra's al Ghul. But when Ra's al Ghul gets small, you have to counter his moves. It adds so much layers to a one boss fight, which is something really incredible. And then there's Mr. Freeze's boss fight that you have to strategize because one move against Mr. Freeze doesn't work. So it makes the player think like Batman to use different moves to eventually defeat Mr. Freeze. It's my favorite boss fight in the game for that exact same reason. Last thing I want to talk about is the fact that you can play as Catwoman, and having a different character play as adds diversity to the game at Batman Arkham City. And Catwoman is incredible in this game. First of all, her combat is so much quicker, and it is similar to Batman as you do button smash swear, but her moves are different compared to Batman. It's a different fighting style. But I also really like the way that she moves around the city. Press R1, you have to time it to climb up the buildings that she's trying to get to. I also love the way they use stealth, where she has to climb up to the roof and use detective mode to attack enemies in a silent way. Catwoman is such an incredible piece to Batman Arkham City and adds diversity to the gameplay and such a great character as a whole that most players love playing as Catwoman, including myself. I think her combat is the best part of Arkham City. Okay, the way this game opens up with Bruce Wayne getting captured and imprisoned in Arkham City while he's protesting is such a haunted way to start this game. Hugo Strange is the character that made Arkham City to imprison these criminals, but it's going to be even more than that as he's trying to launch Protocol 10, and you as a player must find out what Protocol 10 is. But at the same time, Batman is concerned about his identity because Hugo Strange knows that Bruce Wayne is Batman. But no, you run into a Joker that's dying for the Titan formula and puts his blood into Batman and trying to put his blood into Gotham City and try to get a whole bunch of people effective. Now you're playing as a very weak Batman that is feeling more emotional because he's about to die. He wants to do so much good, makes you care about the character Batman even further, adds so much emotional stakes to the story that you have to stop Hugo Strange from releasing Protocol 10 at Arkham City, but you have to stop Joker from releasing this virus and find a cure for yourself. The last thing I want to talk about is the map. The map scope is large at scale. I love the fact that this map is always at nighttime but has some bright colors with the city lights that makes the map feel very vibrant. But I also love the fact that the map has so much things to do with side missions and going after Riddler trophies scattered around the map. Some of my first side missions is the Winter Assassin side mission, where he get a phone call and must glide around the city to find that hostage situation, or having the fact that you could go after Deadshot or any other criminals in Batman Arkham City is something really inventive. And these are the elements that make this game so great, being the story, gameplay, the map itself, because there's so much to impact in Batman Arkham City that makes this game so incredible and one of the best superhero games out there.